How to homeschool when you also have to work from home. I'm pretty much an expert on this subject, so let's get right into it. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Daily Connoisseur. My name is Jennifer, and I have gotten this question so much in the past few weeks. So I'm going to read to you an email I got from Leilani, and we will discuss it. Okay, she says, "Hi Jennifer. I've been a long-time reader of your blog and viewer of your channel. It's unique and inspiring. Thank you. I share a love for homemaking that I never thought was actually a thing, even though I work full-time outside of the home. Homemaking is a passion of mine." And I wanted to just cut right there and say, thank you, Leilani. I get so many people who misunderstand my homemaking videos, and they think that if you work, you cannot also be a homemaker. But everybody who has a home or a place to live, it doesn't even have to be a house, a freestanding house. Everybody who lives somewhere is a homemaker. They have to keep their home, right? Okay. I've also always wanted to homeschool, but it was never an option since both my husband and I need to work in order to provide for our family. Now with this COVID-19 pandemic, everything's been turned upside down for many of us. This is not what I had in mind when I thought of homeschooling my children. Now that I'm working from home, it's a challenge to be productive with my work and with homeschooling. It's also been a real challenge because we were not provided with a curriculum to follow. I know that your situation is not like many of us who were previously working outside the home, but I'm hoping you can make a video with tips for us parents that are new to this while also working for home. Okay, so she goes on in the email, but I just wanted to read that snippet because a lot of you are finding yourself in the same position. You used to work outside of the home, but because of everything that's going on, you are now working from home and you're homeschooling, which is a double whammy, right? So I think, because I am a working mother as well, I work from home as well, and I also homeschool my children full-time, where we always homeschool. So I have really come up with a balance that works for me. Of course, it might not work for everybody, but I wanted to share my schedule with you in today's video. Now, this is not going to make a lot of people happy, and I'll tell you why. Because you can't have everything, right? And you have to make cuts in certain places. And I've made a lot of sacrifices to my own personal free time in order to do this because I've chosen this path. So anyway, so a lot of people might think, well, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. And that's fine. But I'm just telling you what I do. And this is literally the only way that I make it work for me. Okay, I've got my coffee here. So basically, here's what I do. I do the majority of my thinking work, my creative work, the work that cannot be interrupted, because that is the biggest challenge, is being interrupted. There's those commercials for Masterclass. Have you seen those? And Joyce Carol Oates does one. And in her introduction, she says, the enemy of a writer is not lack of ideas, but it's actually interruptions by other people. And I could not agree with her more. Something that I struggle with immensely still to this day is that I am constantly interrupted. So I have just come to grips with the fact that I cannot do my heavy thinking work when the children are awake. I just can't do it. So I'm a writer, and I do creative work like coming up with blogs and videos and editing and all that stuff. And I have to do that when they are not around because I can't work. I mean, there's absolutely no way I could sit down and write a book with the kids running around me and just constantly asking me questions and things like that. It's just not going to happen. So I kind of save my mindless work, the work that I don't need to put a lot of thought into, for the middle of the day when everyone's around me. But as far as the deep work that I need to do, I do it early in the morning and late at night. And that's where the sacrifice comes in. A lot of people don't want to give up their nighttime, which is something that I've given up. So I used to Ben and I would just watch a couple hours of TV every night, like most people. That doesn't happen anymore. So after the kids go to bed, I usually work for a few hours. So that's the part that I think a lot of people will have a struggle with, and I get it because we all need our free time. But I just rebrand my free time in other ways. So I will give myself pockets of free time and beautiful pleasures to look forward to throughout the day. If you read At Home with Madame Chic, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I usually get up between 5 and 5:30 a.m. and I will work until the kids wake up. Now that varies, and I have 2 very young boys and they get up pretty early. Sometimes they're getting up at 6, which is quite frustrating. But I know that eventually they're going to get to where the girls are and they could sleep till 10 if I don't wake them up. So that will be really good for my work and I'll be able to get a lot of stuff done. I get as much done as I can in the morning. Once they're up, it's over, and I stop giving myself that push-pull, because I used to just be frustrated that I couldn't work because I had to suddenly take care of everybody, breakfast, everything, homeschool, everything, right? You just have to do it all. So basically, from the time they wake up, I put it away. I might check my email and reply to a few comments if I have a few moments of rest to myself, but I don't do any heavy bulk work. So basically, we tend to homeschool between 9 and noon. And during that time, I try not to look at anything. I won't look at work. I won't do anything with work. So I try to give them my full attention during those hours. Then at noon, we have lunch. And then after lunch, they might have a few subjects trickle in if we didn't get them in, like history or science usually. And so they might be doing those, or they'll be practicing the piano and stuff, but it's not heavy, concentrated, sitting down work. So after lunch, then we are cleaning up and the kids are playing. They'll play for several hours and getting fresh air and that type of thing. Then dinner, okay, we have an early dinner, usually between 5 and 6. Then after dinner, I'm very regimented about time to go upstairs and get ready for bed. So then we have our, the little ones have baths, the big girls take care of themselves. And then I put them all to bed. After I put them to bed, after I read to the girls, then I sit down. I try to get this done by 9 p.m. at the latest. But of course, the little boys go to bed early. They go to bed at 6:30 to 7, basically. But the girls stay up later, and I usually hang out with them, and we usually read, and I'm doing stuff, I'll clean the kitchen. I'm usually done with all of that by 9, and I will usually work from 9 to about 11. And that is when I get the majority of my work done. So that is how I manage homeschooling and working from home. So it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's an extremely disciplined life. There's not a lot of room for, I'm just gonna watch a movie, or I'm just going to watch a few hours of TV. That's not happening. But I'm still reading books. I'm still listening to audiobooks. I personally don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I'm glad that I've moved to this new schedule of productivity, and this is how I get everything done that I get done. People always want to know. So that is what I do. I just want to encourage you that when you are with your children, when you're homeschooling with them, just forget everything else if you can, and just try to be very focused and concentrated. The great thing about homeschooling is that it is very efficient and you don't waste time. So you are able to get through these subjects in a concentrated one-on-one type way, and you're not going to be homeschooling for 8 hours. You can get it done in the block of a small amount of time. And so then when that's over, then you have to be firm with the kids if you need to work. All right, mommy needs to work now. So give them something to do, give them guidelines, boundaries, parameters, and then get your work done as much as you can. But for heavy thinking work or creative work, you might have to wait until they go to sleep. Okay, those are my observations. I hope that you found this video useful and helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. And I will see you tomorrow for a new episode of Connoisseur Reviews. Thanks everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye.